Jason Burmis here, on the road. Probably about, let's see, where are we at?
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-70 East.
We're about 7.5 hours away from DC, and I realize that it is, what is it, like 4 in the morning almost? 3:20 in the morning Eastern time? Why am I going live right now? Well, number one, I'm on the road. I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about the Assange extradition hearing that honestly is taking place in about 40 minutes. So that's happening, okay? And whether we realize it or not, it is one of the most important decisions that could possibly be made by any court system, kangaroo or otherwise. I want to make that extremely clear. Now, I fully expect the judge in this case to say that they are going
Continue on I-70 East for 92 miles.
That they are going to hand Assange over to the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to happen necessarily. Now, that's not me also basing my belief in hopium and thinking that the judge is going to do the right thing. All right. What I do think, though, is that we're going to see... Man, I didn't even have my lights on. Jesus. That we're going to see a appeal. All right, so I expect them to say, yes, we're going to hand Assange over to a court, the espionage court, that has a 100% conviction rate. 100% conviction rate. All right? Now, a lot of you have thought that Trump is going to pardon Assange, he's going to pardon Snowden. Number one, I don't even really know what the dynamics of pardoning Assange could be, because he hasn't been, convicted of anything. All these are just charges, right? There's nothing here that says that Assange is actually a criminal. And that's, not that he is a criminal, because the indictment is a farce, okay? And it is the end of free speech if we allow this process to take place. And you better believe that even if Trump somehow finds a way to do a future pardon or something like that, the Biden administration, which is nothing more than, a arm of the predator class, let's be honest. Joe Biden barely knows where he is or what he is doing. Kamala Harris is, their next trusted sociopath. Again, Biden called her president-elect again this past week. That is not normal, okay? It is not normal to have somebody who clearly has visible dementia to be the quote-unquote president-elect. And I know the big thing right now is the Trump phone call with the Georgia guy. And I'm listening to the news, these little news clips on the radio as I go across the country. And it's all, they literally just use the term conspiracy theory all the time now. There's no evidence. It's a conspiracy theory. Trump was talking conspiracy theories on that phone. And again, it's an hour-long call. I don't know when I'm going to have the time to listen to it. But obviously, at some point, I will have to vet it. Oh, I probably will get to D.C. I'm assuming. It depends on whether I drive through the night. We'll see. And now there's Steve. Yeah, by the way, guys, when this broadcast is over, Steve from Slow News Day is going to be broadcasting the hearing live. So I suggest you check that out. He's saying you're up early. I haven't gone to bed, Steve, since I was watching your broadcast before. I jumped in the car probably an hour and a half after that. I think I got in like 8:30. I got in the car about 8:30 Central Time, and like 3 hours plus of fog. I thought that there was going to be more snow and whatnot, and don't get me wrong, there were little patches of that, nice. But the fog was crazy. Get out of the fog until almost Indiana. Just left Indiana. I'm in Ohio now, and we'll see if I do it all night or if I stop off somewhere. The problem is that you can't check into a hotel most places till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So say I got into the DC area around 10, 11 a.m., I'm kind of in limbo for 4 or 5 hours, and I'm going to be exhausted. So who knows? I want to talk about something else, because conspiracy theory is the new black. And what do I mean? Well, I was watching a clip today of Ron Johnson. Let's see, Indiana looks the best in your rearview mirror. If you can even see the rearview mirror, it's kind of like a little bit iced over, but then kind of like watered over. And there's Andrew right there. Oh, he's giving me an address. I don't even know if I'm going to get into the city of DC. We'll see. So I was watching Meet the Press, Chuck Todd. Okay, Chuck Todd is one of the most smug, sociopathic minions of the Predator class I've ever seen in my life. So he has Ron Johnson on. I don't know a lot about Ron Johnson, but what I've been seeing of Ron Johnson lately, and I believe he is a senator from Wisconsin, I've actually liked. And what do I mean? Well, you know, whether it be the election integrity hearings, or whether it be the fact that he's one of the only people to talk about repurposed drugs for COVID-19. And what I really liked about this is he knew he was coming on to be attacked, to be smeared, and basically for this mainstream media mantra of pushing a narrative that guys like Ron Johnson are complete lunatics and conspiracy theorists, on par with Jason Burmis, who's also a complete lunatic and conspiracy theorist, according to Chuck Todd, sociopath. But what I wouldn't give to have an hour-long Chuck Todd can't get out of it debate on any subject. God, I would own that man. I don't even like to call him a man, because when I think of men, I think of people of integrity, you know, people who, man, push against evil and not flow with it. And that's Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd, to me, is a minion of evil. I watched him sit there and talk to John Podesta about quote-unquote Pizzagate, and I want to throw up my mouth, okay? That's like 2+ years ago. Not that I was a fan of Chuck Todd before that. You could see Chuck Todd this time around during election night actually getting nervous because it looked like no matter what, Trump was going to win. And you could see that even though he'd been told 100, maybe 1,000 times over, there was no chance, you know, he didn't know that the complete dicka-dicka-doo that was about to happen. So he looked a little nervous. Ron Johnson starts the discussion with Chuck Todd, saying how, well, if he was going to have a hearing, he'd like to have a hearing on the response to COVID-19 and why we were not treating people early and using repurposed medicines. All right, now if you think about that, that sounds like a lot like Dr. Richard Bartlett, who we've had on the program, right? So then Chuck Todd gets into it, and it's all, you know, there's no evidence of what? Widespread voter fraud. Remember, it was voter fraud, but then they changed the terminology about 48 to 72 hours into it to make it more palatable, where they, you know, you could have voter fraud, it just couldn't be widespread. You get it? You see the semantics of that? Man, come on, dude. I got this 18-wheeler like crossing over into my lane right now. I'm gonna try to pass it. So you had that, and what really made me turn my stomach is, I mean, the whole thing was very hard to watch, okay? I burst out into laughter at one point. The way Chuck Todd was addressing the president and conspiracy theories and desperation and all this nonsense. But then, when Ron Johnson pointed out that there were tens of millions of Americans that did not believe the result, okay? That wanted this looked into, that wanted to secure the integrity of our elections. When he said that, Chuck Todd turned it around and a lot of people were 9/11 truthers, and they wanted you to look into 9/11. Do you want to hold hearings on that? And I'm thinking to myself, fuck yeah, I want to hold hearings on that. If we held hearings on 9/11, maybe the public would know that when zombie Joe Biden used to be Joey B, the gangster, okay, he openly went on television several days after 9/11, I believe it was on the 14th, bragging about meeting with General Mahmoud Ahmed, the head of the Pakistani ISI at the time, their largest intelligence agency, basically their CIA, the ISI, back in the late 70s and the early 80s, worked with U.S. intelligence, worked with bin Laden in Afghanistan against the Russians. This is common knowledge, all right? Look into the BCCI banking scandal and bin Laden as well, all right? Look at the BCCI banking scandal and people like George H.W. Bush's kids. Huh? Neil? Anybody? Neil Bush? Don't know that one? Might want to look into it. So if we had those hearings and we found out that Joe Biden bragged about meeting with one of the money men behind 9/11, you see, General Mahmoud Ahmed facilitated $100,000 to Atta through a guy named Omar Saeed Sheikh, who clearly has all the telltale signs of an international intelligence asset / agent. This is a guy, Omar Saeed Sheikh, okay, that was convicted of beheading Daniel Pearl, the first beheading video that kicked off that war on terror. Really? Yes, the war on terror. Like, forget about that. Was like, oh my God, they're beheading people. It wasn't just 9/11 now. It just wasn't the spooky anthrax attacks. Now we had videos where they were chopping the heads off of people. That guy who got convicted of that was exonerated by Saudi Arabia, all right? And then what? Exonerated by Pakistan just a couple weeks ago. And you got Biden on the Senate. It's all in fabled enemies, all of it. On the Senate floor, talking about how Pakistan pretends to be our friend. And then when Luke Rudowski confronts him on it twice, he admits it. And he's like, well, we didn't arrest Khrushchev when he came. We never put Pakistan in the crosshairs of the war on terror. Never acknowledged that in public, not once. And then he says it's classified. So come on, give me a break. So guys, you know, we're on the road. We're doing it live. We're heading to DC. I thought I was going to have to rent a vehicle, but the whole thing with renting a vehicle is if you rent it for more than 2 days, you might as well rent it for the week because you're going to spend, you know, $700 to $1,000 anyway. And getting down there, again, I'm going to try to stay outside of DC. You know, I'll go on my phone and boop, 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 boop. Try to find something on the border in Virginia or something like that. Oh, and then make my way into the city for the next several days. I don't know how long I'm going to stay out there, whether I'll leave on the 7th or the night of the 6th. No clue yet. And, you know, I do these things on the fly. You know, I said goodbye to the fam, my nieces and my sister, and said I'll be back. I'm hoping that we don't have any other kind of snowstorms. Right now, the roads are pretty awesome, actually, out here in Ohio, and I'm hoping it's going to be smooth sailing. But, guys, I can always use your support. Obviously, this trip is going to cost big bucks no matter what. So consider hitting the GoFundMe down below. $5, $10, $15 big donors. Couldn't do it without you. Remember, we've got the Rockfin. I won't be doing an exclusive tomorrow, obviously, probably because I'll be sleeping through it. But I'm going to try to put some things up on Rockfin throughout the week. We'll see what happens. You know, normally I'm double casting and all that other stuff. Check out the YouTube, you know, this week. Hopefully they don't take me down. You know, we're fighting that every single day. And remember, in about a half hour from now, yep, right around a half hour from now, the Assange extradition hearing is going to go live, and you're going to want to tune in to Action for Assange and Slow News Day show so that you can really, you know, find out what's happening in the world. You know, find out what the next step in this atrocity that's going on against Julian Assange. What is the next chapter? Is it going to be an appeal? Are miracles going to happen? And is the judge going to throw it out today? I don't believe in miracles, not like that one. But every once in a while, guys, it happens. You know, we just did the What Did Jason Burmis Get Wrong in 2020 broadcast. And I'd love to be wrong on this one. So guys, I love you. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong. I'll see you on the flip side.